Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I think this is all ridiculous hype. This is all manipulation. This is all control of the masses. And it's really frightening. I will tell you that I went to a charity event, Northwestern University, very respected doctors, hundreds of doctors. Very, very interesting to hear doctors talk. And these were top doctors. And they said, look, you want to do a little cocaine? Yeah. You want to smoke a little weed? Yeah. You want to drink? Yeah. Pipe smoking, actually smoking tobacco, and nobody knows this, or they didn't publish it or make a big deal about it, actually lengthens your life because it's so relaxing. And, you're better off eating, I'm going somewhere with this, I know it doesn't sound like I am, but you're better off having, real sugar as opposed to the chemical stuff. You're better off having heavy cream, real cheese, all these chemicals, all this hydrogenated stuff. Everything is so bad for us. And they said, look, if you have to get it, don't do it in the nose. Don't do the spray in the nose. And there was some talk amongst them that by spraying in the nose, it went airborne and people were actually getting sick. And then others were saying, no, that's not true. But they all did agree that you wanted to get it. You wanted to get the shot, and you wanted to make sure it was the kind. You wanted to tell them, this is just eavesdropping, you wanted to tell the people that you were allergic to eggs so that they gave you a shot that didn't have so many preservatives in it.
Right.
But even the doctors were fighting over whether or not they would get the vaccine.
Well, and many of them haven't, and many first responders have refused to. It kind of blows the whole plan. We were all supposed to line up for this, and of course they kind of did the takeaway close on us, Mancow, where, well, there's not enough vaccine for everybody, so that, of course, makes people want it. We actually found in a discussion at the Council on Foreign Relations where they proposed exactly this kind of thing. We'll have shortages of the vaccine. Everybody will want it, and, of course, everybody has to take it. And, I've just done an enormous amount of work. I've interviewed a number of top medical experts that say, vaccines are extremely dangerous, especially these kinds of vaccines that are rushed out into the market with no responsibility and no culpability whatsoever except for to, sign the checks and cash the checks.
Well, and of course, the Obama administration, our government, gave these people complete immunity. It has not been properly vetted. You're correct. It hasn't been properly studied. They all did agree. Also, all of these top doctors agreed that seasonal flu vaccines were a complete waste of time. So it is fascinating, and we have to remember how this administration and how all administrations act. They create the problem. We react with fear of the four-letter F word that controls the masses, and they offer the solution. The solution makes them rich and usually involves you and I losing some measure of liberty. So you have to be careful of these bastards, absolutely.
How many times can the government cry wolf and we, the people, just quit believing it? I mean, it's everything. It's terrorism. There's a terrorist behind every bush, or as we say on our show, a bush behind every terrorist. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. There's always some boogeyman that's coming to jump out of the bushes to get us, and I just don't think Americans are even listening to it anymore.
Well, it's fascinating, whether you're talking about Dr. Hassan at Fort Hood, the terrorist who we trained, or Bin Laden, who was our guy. I mean, bizarre watching, just clicking through cable the other day and watching Stallone's Rambo 3 dedicated to the heroes, the Muslim fighters of Afghanistan. I mean, these guys were built up by us to fight the Ruskies, right? Noriega, Saddam. It's always our guys. The guy that one of the wild ones that people don't talk about is why was Hinckley's family, and this is a fact, look this up, why was Hinckley's family having dinner with Bush's family the night before Reagan was shot?
And why was Bush Sr. having breakfast with the ISI in Pakistan and the Bin Ladens the morning of 9/11? I'm sure that. Well,
I mean, we've seen Saddam and Rumsfeld hanging out. We've seen Bush holding hands with the Saudi princes. We make these enemies. So yes, look, you have to. Like Star Wars or any good story, you have to have a good boogeyman. Wag the dog maybe is a better analogy. Yeah, we have to have bad guys, and many times Timothy McVeigh, Oswald, these are our guys, and we always know about them. Isn't it amazing if it's one of our kids that gets kidnapped, especially if it's I hate to say this, but if it's a little black girl, forget about it. That seems to be the deal in this country. If it's a little black girl, forget it. I think, racism is overused, but boy, if you're a little white girl, the media goes crazy. Everybody's upset. Of course, they never find you, or they never find out who killed you. But if it's something involving the government, if you do something they find you within 10 minutes. Isn't it amazing? If it's one of us, forget about it. If it's our kids, forget about it. If it's our wives forget about it. But if something is done to the government, man, in 5 minutes they have the problem solved. They have the case closed, and you're in jail. And you know what? And the people they catch never get to talk to the media. You notice that? Noriega never talked. These people never talk. It's fascinating.
We've got quite a list of them. And speaking of Nancy Grace, I hear she's got quite a thing for you, Mancow, and just don't go there, all right? I'm warning you. We've kind of been doing a running joke throughout our program today. When we start getting into serious news, we just go, Sarah Palin. We just start throwing in Sarah Palin, which has completely taken over the entire news cycle. There is no recession. There is no coming depression. There are no wars. There is no loss of liberty. Sarah Palin has gone rogue and, of course, agrees with everything Mitt Romney says. You're in Chicago, which is interesting because we also did a little story on Chicago thuggery and politics today. And, I mean, you talk openly about Obama and about, criticize the president, which obviously makes you a racist and a terrorist and everything else under the sun. How do you get away with it? And how do your listeners, your local listeners in Chicago, respond to telling the truth about Obama?
Well, look, I was at the taping. I was there. I saw Sarah. She's really such a disingenuous person. Now, I've known women like Sarah. I'm a church-going guy. These are the women that walk over. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who Sarah Palin is. I missed last Sunday, and I went to church 2 days ago, and I walk in, and a lady comes over, a very sweet lady, comes over with a smile on her face. We missed you last Sunday. Now, look, in Hebrew, Satan means the accuser. And this woman, it was nothing about her missing me. It was all about control. And if you look at Sarah Palin, and look, there's a lot to – Sarah Palin is likable on many levels. I want to say that. But
I like Fargo, too, actually.
Okay. But what she says is so hateful. But yet when anyone says anything to her, she is offended, and she writes vicious things in her book. I've read the book. She writes vicious things on her Twitter account. And then if anyone says anything to Sarah, she's so shocked. It really is the Dana Carvey church lady character. And it's the same thing with this Carrie Prejean who I interviewed. Again, stacks of pornos, a party girl. If you say anything to her, though, she's very offended. I think a lot of it is phony baloney, but then again, I'm able to see through the BS, and I think a lot of America isn't. As far as Obama, I knew Barry Obama when he was a community organizer. I knew Barry Obama before he was our president. I told people what we were going to get, and I have to say that it's far worse than I thought it was going to be. Nobody in Chicago is surprised. Nobody in Chicago is surprised. This is thuggery. This is the mob mentality of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, and the rest. All this stimulus money, it was revealed, went to District 18 and District 32. There is no District 18. There is no District 32.
But it was just a clerical error, Mancow. It wasn't a slush fund. No, it couldn't be that.
I had ABC reporters and CBS reporters on today, and they said, well, it may have just been an error. $32 million to District 42 in Arizona. There's no District 42. The job numbers you mentioned, I mean, this is frightening. By the way, everyone, are you cutting me off?
We're going to break.
Okay, I got more.
You're with us. We'll come back with Mancow, Mancow's Morning Madhouse, mancow.com, right here on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. I'm Jack Blood, your radio gun. Stay with us.